Craig Sawyer, again, I already knew who Craig Sawyer was. And then, of course, I have some friends that worked as contractors in other clandestine areas, obviously with the CIA and things overseas. And they said, no, Craig's a really great guy. He knows exactly what's going on. And also, he's a listener of yours. And, of course, he told the story last time he was on about the CIA guy years ago in country in a secret operation saying, you want to know what's going on here? Listen to this, which I'm always honored to hear. And I've been told that story quite a few times by a lot of folks. But that's just because we have all these guys on over the years and people. I mean, I remember you used to have the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Admiral Moore, on. I used to have the former head of the Air Force, Benton T. Parton. I mean, I've just had hundreds and hundreds of these great people, many of which aren't with us, unfortunately, anymore. And a lot more behind the scenes we talk to. So it's not like I came up with any of this. I've done my research, and I've got the sources, and we're willing to put it out. But I haven't pre-interviewed Craig for the second time when we went out and had dinner and stuff before I ever had him on air. I never talked to him before. But obviously, a lot of the stuff he's seen is classified. But I talked to a lot of other folks. It's come out in the news. You can just search engine, UN caught running child sex slaves, or big corporations doing it. And the military sees this, then tries to blow the whistle. But then even when they don't even do it publicly, all of a sudden they start getting shut down on the internet, on their social networks. If you do it, then they really shut you down. He's been through that. We're going to talk about it today. And, of course, Craig's the type of guy that I'm guessing, so he wants to come on. Let's go on the offense. Since they're trying to shut us down openly. That's what I announced last week. That's what he's saying he's doing. I bet he didn't even hear the show. We're just all on the same page. And I can't get into a lot of it because it's quite frankly, the media would run crazy with it, and it sounds unbelievable because that's how truth is, stranger than fiction. But TacticalInsider.com is his website. Craig R. Sawman Sawyer is a Marine veteran, former Navy SEAL, sniper, and combat instructor. He's the owner of Tactical Insider, which brings tactical advanced weapons and combat to Hollywood films and actors. And I'm not going to go through his whole bio and the rest of it, but he's joining us here on air. I know off record, I've talked to some of his folks he was with, some of the crazy stories and things they've seen. But the reason he's here is, I don't know how far he can go into this, but sex crimes in America are just exploding. And the feminists all say it's Western culture. No, it's not. It's Islamic culture. It's third world culture that are admittedly more readily accepting this. And it's getting crazier and crazier where our military's told, let the Muslims rape children. It's their culture. Well, now in Europe, they're saying that. And then I don't know how far he can go into things, but, you know, this stuff really hits close to home for everybody. And if it hasn't burned you yet or people you know, then just wait. It's going to happen. And so it's like evil's coming out of the nest. It's coming out of the cave. It's like the devil walking around roaring, seeing who he may devour. And so none of us have all the answers. I don't know exactly what to do. I just know I'm going to get the word out and move forward. We're going to beat these people. But we're dealing with very, 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 very wicked people. Trump has arrested, it was 1,800 a few weeks ago. It's over 3,000 alleged pedophiles. But a lot of times it's not child porn. It's with the kids in cages, okay? And the big telltale sign is like California on February 2nd. KTLA, biggest TV station in LA, 474 arrested, 28 kids in bondage, some of them in cages. Nothing about the kids, nothing about where they are now, nothing about what was going on in this network. And I've seen this type of article thousands of times over the years. And so this is the real currency of the globalists. So I don't know where we're even going here today other than a brainstorm session about what we can do. And I know a lot separately, people are sick of this in the military. They're tired of the Islamic takeover, the globalist takeover, the head of the EU threatening to break the United States up yesterday when he's the leading Nazi heir. Juncker, I mean, you can't make this up. Basically, the Nazis took Luxembourg. He rules it now. And he's the head of the EU. It's like some royal weasel on an unelected EU thing. So I'm ranting. The point is that they want us to shut up about pedophilia. They want us to shut up about what's going on. And look, we're just investigating. Sometimes we're right. Sometimes we're wrong. We'll correct when we are. The point is that why is there the demonization? Why is Salon saying pedophilia is no big deal? Why is the UN trying to legalize it, saying it's just a sexual preference? Why are they trying to lower the age of consent for kids all over the world? What is going on? Why are they allowed, the guest we had yesterday, thousands of girls being raped and everything by Muslims, and the police say it's okay, it's their culture in England? That's mainstream news. So what's happening here? Now we see Orthodox, radical, Wahhabist Islam, pedophilia is a tenet, it's in the Quran, merging with these pedophile networks. So, again, I haven't talked to the Sawman since I waved bye to him when I walked out of a steakhouse a few weeks ago here in Austin after he did a great job on the show. TacticalInsider.com. but he's a polite guy, so he'll pause a lot. So just take over, tell folks about your idea. I know other people are launching similar ideas, already have. I know special ops people that are currently actually doing raids all over the world, saving people out of sex slavery. We probably can't get into that because it's obviously being funded by some patriots, and who knows if the government even knows it's going on. But the point is, Craig, you know more about this stuff than I do, so I don't know how much we can talk about, but you've got the floor. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on, Alex. Well, in short, I am inclined to go public with this because this whole pedophile business has been really suppressed by the media. I know people that have done good investigations, been part of great roundups and networks of arrests in this field, and they just say, man, it just doesn't hit the light of day. It just goes away because there is so much influence. A lot of these pedophiles are very connected, they're very wealthy, and they own a lot of the media, and things just get swept under the rug. And I have decided to go independent. We were supposed to have a television series to kind of show this 2 years ago, and it keeps not happening because those involved in the media apparently don't want to still see this come to light. So my heart breaks when I imagine the visual of what I'm learning from my friends that are deep into these investigations and saying, you know, Craig, this is turning out, revealing itself to be the front lines between good and evil in the United States. This is really kind of what my friends are seeing as the front lines of the fight for the soul of our nation, because it's so sick and so depraved what they're learning with these arrests and the bus and what they're finding. It's hard for us to believe as decent, you know, morally decent citizens what's going on. And
well, I don't mean to interrupt you after my 10-minute intro. I should also add, you're also a veteran federal law enforcement officer, and we probably can't even get into all those classified areas you've been involved in. So you have federal law enforcement connections. You have also, obviously, in the CIA, Navy SEALs, everything. You've been in all of it. And so the point is, this is what you're getting back from everybody. And we see it in the news. 3,000 plus reported pedophiles arrested, many times with the sex slaves, and then it goes totally dark. That shows total proof, the total control.
Yeah, absolutely. It's being suppressed, and that's where I think the fight really is in shining the light on it. I always say sunlight is the best antiseptic for corruption. And that is exactly what's needed here. That's what the doctor ordered. That's what I feel like I can do with my background and my connections. Man, I've got a team with senior veterans from virtually every intelligence and law enforcement agency out there, as well as the highest end of counterterrorism for operators. So we can do a lot of good with this. And it's really all about, for our organization.
And we're going to launch it when we come back from break. I want a drumbeat. You're launching a new national organization. This is going to really scare the scumbags. But I want you to really take your time when we come back. Walk through everybody having this come to Jesus moment and just seeing it. And like you said, the fight for the soul of the world, not just America. This is really going on. It's a pedophile empire, is how it was described to me by a senior retired general. And they just say, this is the one thing you touch, they come after you. Well, you know what? It's time to say, fill your hand, isn't it?
Yeah, man, it is. It is. I can't look away, Alex. You know, there are a lot of things I'd rather spend my time doing, man. I'd rather be, at the beach with those that I care about, or doing anything else recreational. But with my background, I feel like I have the ability to make a positive difference, and my heart breaks for these children, and I cannot look away, and I will do what I can. And I think my best impact is to expose it so that we can clean it up.
Let me launch it right now. Everybody needs to tweet it, Facebook it. The reason you're doing this, and we talked about this privately last week, but we're going to get more into it when we come back, because we haven't talked much since then, or haven't talked since then. You were just saying, I got to do something, I want to do something, and we're going to talk about it when we come back, but it's vetsforchildrescue.org. And just since he even started talking about it privately, they've shut off his Twitter, Facebook, you name it, won't let him spread anything because, again, folks, everything's surveilled by these people. That's what's so scared is. We got a pedophile network in control, basically, of the NSA. We'll be back. Stay with us. I'm going to come back, and I want him to start at the beginning and just lay it out as much as he wants to tell you. But I was told Trump's going after the pedophiles when he got in. That was something we mentioned on there, but it's like, wow, that's an interesting campaign promise to people behind the scenes of the military and other folks that I talked to. And then you see his tweets from years ago saying, you know, we need to just kill these people. When they get convicted, I want them executed. Because he's in New York. He knows about the elites. And it's just Trump just, I know people that have known him 50 years, not just like Roger 40. He hates people that abuse children. And Trump is just, well, he's a neat freak and a lot of other things. He just can't stand pedophiles. And so Trump just says, roll them up. Because law enforcement gets persecuted. People go after them. Stuff happens to their families. And Trump's just, hey, he's told the agencies, everybody, roll them up. And that's why Trump looks a little more serious when you even see him now. It's not the old happy Trump, because he now knows way more than he did before. Vets for childrescue.org. We're going to talk about launching this. Other groups are doing this behind the scenes. You're seeing, I mean, the number is over 3,000 now arrested in just 69 days that Trump's been in. And it's not the old-fashioned, just some child porn. It's people with 4-year-olds, with 2-year-olds in cages. It's legislators. It's judges. It's high-powered people. It's bad, folks. And I want to be clear. I'm not saying most judges are involved in this. Or you find it, though, because they've got controllers in key positions. And they're trying to take our system over. That's why they're doing this. You can see in the news their agenda and their publications even promoting it, like pedophilia is okay. They're going to take that out of context. I didn't say that. That's Salon Magazine. You know, all this other crap. You know, let me have access to this and that. So we're going to go back to Craig here in a moment. Just so you know, and I'm not complaining. This is my job. Quite frankly, it's not gallows humor. It's more than that. I know when they're nationally saying, shut off my advertisers, kick me off Google, kick me off AdRoll, shut me down, arrest me, gag. It's in the news that I must be really hurting these people. And boy, when I go into the pedophile stuff, they just go completely insane. So I realize, but you need to know, though, kind of like the Alamo sending a letter out, hey, we're here, we're going to stay to the end. They are chopping our tentacles off, our, you know, the different legs of our stool here all the time. And we're growing other ones fast. We're moving forward, and it feels good. I mean, we're in a war, though. This is an information war with people out there that actually have to deal with it on the ground, like these law enforcement people and military veterans that have to go in and see the kids in the cages, okay? 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 Because I won't even in these investigations look at the stuff, okay? I just can't do it. I've never seen it. I won't see it. I've seen some stuff investigating Islamicists that I couldn't believe. So I guess I have seen them killing kids. But the point is that this stuff's meant to kill your soul. Imagine the guys that have to deal with it, and then nothing's done on top of it. That's one reason you see all the suicide with veterans and people, is because they understand that nothing's being done to fight real evil. So now with our iodine, you have to get it from gas drilling. There's only a few big companies that go that deep to get it. We're the only company putting out deep earth crystal stuff. You got to get DEA approved, because you can do all sorts of stuff with this. Not what we sell you, because it's put into palm oil, but the pure crystals. That's why it's so good. It's the good halogen. It's helped me so much. It's helped so many other people. We're selling out of it. And we've been selling this 4 years. And I've never sat there and said, oh, by the way, we might not be able to get the crystals anymore. But now it's running into issues. Oh, well, you know, when we go in, it costs a lot to extract it when we hit 12,000 feet. So you need to pay more. And either we're going to get a new source, or it's going to go up in price, because it already cost me a lot. I mean, we're talking, there's like $7 of the iodine alone that goes in the bottle, and then the palm oil and the packaging and the marketing and everything else. You know, so the point is, but we're running a special 30% off, and selenium from mustard seed, needed in all electrochemical activity. They go together like a horse and carriage, supercharging. I mean, I've lost 60, 70 pounds, folks. I'm no beach body, but you know, the point is, I work out less than I did when I was trying to lose it, because of the selenium, because of the X2, the super male. But if you want it, you better get it now, because it's about to sell out. Then we've got one more big run we can do with what we've got left in our DEA-approved vault in let's just say Western state. I'm supposed to say where these factories are when you have this stuff, because there's a big trusted company that makes it, but they also are connected to pharmaceutical manufacturing. But you just don't have precursors to stuff like many drugs you see, because iodine's a key element, folks. So they can't stop us from having it and giving it to you, but there are rules how we get. So the point is, we jumped through a lot of hoops to get you this. And now these oil companies know some big wheels are coming around trying to buy it up. And so the squeeze is on us. So it's just, and the word is, that's the type of intel they're getting, though. They're just working around the clock. I'm not sure that's what this is, but the last month, all hell's breaking loose. So get your iodine, support the broadcast. I'm going to still keep the price low, even though we're probably going to sell it. So we got like 25 minutes, 30 minutes left with our guest. I appreciate him putting up with me while I try to fund her operation. But Craig, recap what you said earlier, some of your background for new listeners that just tuned in. Craig Sawyer, tacticalinsider.com, the SAW man, famous Navy SEAL, even more famous for folks that don't know what he actually did in the SEALs, former federal officer, host of major TV shows. I can't go over all of it. History Channel's Most Deadly Missions. You've got the program Top Shot, all 5 seasons. Point is, you're a prominent, super respected guy. You're coming out saying you have all these other colleagues that are saying they're covering up mass pedophilia. We see the roundups happening. We see the stories being killed. That is, all these should just be giant #1 stories. So take it over.
Yeah, well, I do have an eclectic background, a kind of a wide scope of personal experience. And I think that's what's allowed me to assemble this team of experts that are senior veterans of so many different units, law enforcement, intelligence, counterterrorist units that are very, very, very capable. They spent their lifetimes solving very difficult problems internationally. And all of my colleagues are very good people. And in this case, we just want to rally around the innocent babies and children who are being tortured. And their little lives and psyches are being shattered by pedophiles, and learning what's going on. And you're right, President Trump has his DOJ after these guys, and they're making hundreds and even thousands of arrests now. So thank God, that's a great thing. And what I have been frustrated in watching, and others as well, is how suppressed this issue has always been. And it just seems like no matter how much good work is done trying to clean this up, the American citizens don't really get to learn about it. This just kind of goes away. It goes quiet. So when I was in the Federal Air Marshal Service, I blew the whistle on a guy that was eventually taken down for gross mismanagement and retaliation. And he was at the top of the Las Vegas field office for a while. He had come from the FBI. So I saw how the government, puts a damper on things that it doesn't want to get out. And I saw what government crooks do, what they look like when they can't control things. In the case of the Air Marshal Service, those who are guilty of gross mismanagement at the top of the Air Marshal Service were very, very rattled, visibly shaken when they had air marshals who were going to the press, because these managers had their federal system wired and they could get away with whatever they wanted because they had come up through the ranks with their colleagues and other MSPB and different aspects of the federal government, OIG and so forth, that are supposed to intervene in the case of mismanagement. They had it all wired. And they were arrogant about it, but they couldn't control those who are going directly to the media undercover. While at the time I didn't agree with those going to the media, I saw in observation how it rattled those who were crooked. And that's what they could not control. That's what they feared most. And I think that's what I'm going to apply to this pedophile ring crisis. And that's what I can do, Alex. I'm not afraid. I've got a unique background that allows me to have colleagues that are very connected, very powerful, and gathering the information, cooperating with federal and local law enforcement, being part of these investigations and busts. And most importantly for us is sharing it, circumventing the gatekeepers of big Hollywood and the so-called news media who would keep this suppressed, and getting it out there anyway against all odds so that we, the American people, can be informed. And the ultimate objective of my effort on this, Alex, is to create a non-permissive environment for this scourge against the very soul of our nation, which is our children.
And again, let's talk about what you just launched today, vetsforchildrescue.org. I know that just across the patriots that are in law enforcement, but also in the military, you name it, and also internationally, people know this is real. It keeps coming out. The British police chiefs come out and say the whole government's run by pedophiles, basically, in the UK. Most of the dominant positions. They keep catching them in Europe in huge rings, and then it gets covered up. And then I've talked to a lot of people. They say, Alex, don't you get it? They're not just mad at Trump about trying to return power to America and make us great again. It's the pedophilia. And it's true. When you hit on this, all hell breaks loose. For myself, you, and again, we're not trying to intimidate people for these groups. It's just people need to understand the old saying, World War II bomber pilots, as you know, Craig, you're over the target, you're getting the flak. They used to steer into the flak clouds to drop their bombs. I mean, this is like the flack on this is just incredible. And I see MSM because, you know, we come out and, you know, correct some statement we made on some issue or whatever about a larger topic. And they go, oh, my God, Alex Jones says pedophilia doesn't exist or whatever. It's like so crazy to see major publications sexualizing children, saying it's no big deal, promoting it, you know, trying to sexualize children in the schools. Clearly, they're obsessed with this, and those of us that aren't like them just don't get it. So from your sources, and I've got a stack of news here I can show TV viewers, just every day, massive arrests of prominent pedophiles found with the kids. It's not like, you know, it's just some child porn got put on their computer or something. That's a classic setup. How deep it goes, how big it is, and what your sources are saying from the things they're seeing.
What I am learning, Alex, is that some of the biggest names, families, and foundations anywhere are complicit in this. It's part of their culture. It's a ritualistic thing that apparently they feel like they get power from doing these unspeakable, unthinkable things to infants. I can't wrap my mind around it. I've seen a lot, Alex, but this seems to be the worst. And whatever it is, we're going to expose it. We're going to show the people. A lot of people are advising me, Craig, you can't show this. The American public can't stand it. They can't, you know, they can't deal with it. And then I'm thinking, man, it's happening. We as a nation have to be at least strong enough. If these children can endure this, can't we pay enough attention to help correct it? I mean, that's the least we can do, is at least tune in long enough to go, hey, look, all right, this is unacceptable. We can group together. We can unite to create stronger legislation against this, not to allow it to be normalized and say that it's okay, because it's not okay for the infant that's tortured or murdered. It's not okay for the child whose emotions are shattered. Their psyche is just absolutely devastated, traumatized, and a lot of times they never recover. They're never right, even if they survive it physically. It's unthinkable. It is evil. The guys that are on the closest parts of the investigation, Alex, are calling it evil just due to how destructive and how deranged and perverse it is. And my concern is how pervasive it is, how many are involved, and how wide it goes. And I think the longer, in my opinion, the longer it stays quiet, the longer these perverts and predators who are attacking the soul of our nation and our kids are allowed to enjoy the veil of secrecy, the more depraved and the larger this thing grows, this beast. So I think we've got to rip the lid off of it, shine some sunlight on it, in order to create a non-permissive environment for this in the future.
That's right, because there's nothing they censor more than us even trying to, I mean, that KTLA article where they admit kids found in cages and all this, and you know, 474 arrested and all the rest of it, and the police finally doing this because they've got the green light from the president, you know, that at least they're going to get some backing. Meanwhile, we try to share that on Facebook. They won't let us do it. And I guess we talked a few weeks ago at dinner. We haven't really talked since then, or whenever it was, a week and a half ago. I guess, not putting words in your mouth, that's what finally pushed you over the line, pissing you off that you'd try to even share links and they'd ban you. And then personally seeing stuff going on in your town, it's just, this is a spirit. So can you, I mean, speak specifically to why you've launched and what's going to happen with vets4childrescue.org? Because if we get America's finest veterans and patriots and law enforcement speaking out openly. By the way, this is some of the most powerful radio we've ever done. I'm going to send you an external mic though, so the audio's better. This is powerful, Craig. And, you know, I talked to all these other guys, and they just say that it's all well known, it's documented, it keeps coming out. The UN, seems like people join the UN to do this. It's like the UN seems to be a cult that does it. So as I guess contractors, you guys have seen this, you know, going on or heard about it. And so it's just coming to a head, and it seems like there's an attempt here to just take over culture and kind of come out of the closet with the pedophilia and the Satanism.
Well, if you look into the history of how the perversion in the United States has been incorporated into our medical system, into our educational system, and into our laws, it's been a very deliberate and systematic twisting of the truth. And I know you're aware of it, Alex, but a lot of the other people aren't. I would encourage anyone to research it. There are a lot of documentaries that have been put together, investigators put together the history of that, but it's a systematic campaign to break down the basic moral decency of the United States, and one at a time normalize these different types of perversion. And I say, man, whatever you do between consenting and adults is not really my concern. What I'm concerned about is a child who can't say no, a child who has no say, enduring the unthinkable. A child doesn't understand why these.
I should say it not because we want to act tough, but because it's true. I'm not somebody that shoots my mouth off about violence, but knowing what I know from behind the scenes and what's confirmed, as a man, I mean, seriously, I want these people tried, convicted, and listen, I'm happy to sit up there at the public square and hang their ass. I'll sit there all day and flip those levers after they get a jury of their peers. They want to mainline this crap. They keep pushing. They think they can dominate us. I mean, what is it like you, a trained, like you said, a sheepdog, a lover, not a fighter, but somebody that's ready to, kill bad guys? How do you handle that animal energy? Because the reason I never focus on this too much over the years is when I do, I get so pissed that I can't handle it. I mean, I get physically pissed off listening to this.
Well, I am angry about what I see, Alex, but I find, having had a very sincere and devout pastor for a father who did so much good, that love is more powerful than hate. It really is. You want to rock something. You want to devastate a campaign that is damaging. You do it with love, and you stay within the lines of what people can accept as good and wholesome.
That's the most powerful thing I think I've heard in 22 years of broadcasting. Because let me say this. I was having that feeling this morning that I was actually on my knees praying at like 5 a.m. because I hate these people so much that I feel like I'm becoming evil. I hate them so much. And I was just asking God to give me the strength to do this through love, because that is what the strength is. That's what, I mean, I do what I do because I love people. But at a certain point, it's just like, I guess, how do you then, I guess we just lovingly move forward. But at the same time, I guess we lovingly, once they're convicted, flip that switch?
Well, I feel like I have to do this, so I am unafraid. This isn't about me. I don't do this in my own strength. I'm doing this because I feel...
No, you're a TV host. You're doing a great job. We're the top guys in Hollywood for training. Undoubtedly, we've talked about this off record. I'm not going to say it, but we all pay a price for telling the truth. But like, who cares? We're telling the truth. That's what really matters. But yeah, you're doing this despite the fact that it'll probably hurt your career, because we know what Hollywood's packed with.
Yeah, I'm past that. They have no idea what's coming from me and mine. Look, I know enough to know the game of what's going on and the struggle for power of the United States and the rest of the globe. But I'm focused on the United States. And this is our home. This is our nation. And I am not afraid. And what I have seen really, really makes the biggest difference is when someone who is not afraid takes it to the crooks. And a lot of people, and this is what I started to touch on before, I didn't get it all out before, Alex, is about overcoming fear. It is those of us who do not fear that bring the fight to the crooks, that rattles them and shakes their cage and brings their house of cards tumbling down. It's not that I'm so brilliant and I'm so capable by myself. Again, this isn't about me. This is the fact that I feel that I've been called to tear the lid off of this, shine the sunlight on it.
You're committed.
And I am not afraid. And so I am coming for them. And yes, I do have all the deadliest skills anyone's ever had. U.S. government, thank you, Alex, for your tax dollars, and everyone else spending millions of dollars teaching me and training me to do so many things. And all of the colleagues that I've assembled to bring this fight forward. And it's not about how spooky and deadly we are, although we are, but that allows us not to be afraid. And not by our strength do we do this, but we carry the good fight forward to expose that which is unacceptable and simply clean it up. I do not hate those, as despicable and harmful as their actions are against these kids. I hate the act. I hate the
spirit
on the victims. That's what I hate. If there's any hate, it's that. I love the children so much that I want to go and change this, and I fear not, and I will not be stopped.
And let's be clear, when they kill patriots or take us down or set us up or destroy us, we chose this. The enemy always celebrates it when patriots fall, people that love God fall. God loves that. That's an example, the tree of liberty. So let's be clear, whatever happens to us in this mission, and clearly now they've let us know this is the mission. We chose, we're not running away. Escape's not our plan. We're here, we're facing it. We have victory by making the right choice. That's what it's all about, is the spiritual decision.
Yep, I watched my father do the right thing no matter what it cost him. He was singularly focused on his relationship with God, with his creator, and that nothing deterred him, nothing distracted him. He understood. He was all about it. He was tuned in. And I saw that that positive model was so impactful, so powerful. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. And so I use that as kind of a model to emulate. If he can make that sort of impact, what can we have? And under his influence and his guidance, his role model. I intend to honor my father in what I do, and one day see him again. Hope that he's proud, and I know he will be. But pardon me, it's an emotional thing, because anytime I talk about my father, there's a lot of history, good stuff. But
talk about your father. That's where you get the honor from. Talk about your dad. It's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, again, it's hard because it's so close to home. But when I went off to the SEAL teams, I couldn't come back home to Houston, Texas, and take my father anywhere without people coming up and hugging him and thanking him for all the things that he had done. He would go to the prisons, and he would go to hospitals and the mean streets and just help people turn their lives around. Good stuff.
Well, the good news is good's coming back into the world, and we're going to come after these evil people. I think their offensive against humanity is a sign of their actual weakness. I think it's their battle of the bulge. What do you think?
Well, again, and let me continue on my fear thing. I have seen that those who abuse their authority, those that have abused their wealth, those who abuse their power are the weakest among us. So many Americans, the citizens, feel disempowered, and they feel afraid of those behind the curtain because of a big fancy title, a big fancy name, and a picture that has been painted. But what I have done by by blowing the whistle against high-ranking crooks, I have seen how rattled they were when somebody dared stand up to them, and I saw how powerful that was, and I learned through people close to them how afraid they were of me, and how they were shaking in their shoes and visibly turning white at the mention of my name. And again, I don't think I'm some sort of particular genius or super spooky guy. I think it's just I will tell the truth, and I will not be stopped. And
well, it's a spirit
to do that, and the spirit of doing what's right. And I think that's what crooks fear most. And I would encourage every American to feel empowered. You are not as small as you would be led to believe. You are not as insignificant as you are led to believe. You are more powerful. You have elected officials that you control, whether or not they get into office at the local level.
But let me just say this before this hour ends, because you're launching this, and I'm glad you're doing it, but people need to support it. What is vetsforchildrescue.org? How do folks get that past the censors? How do they support you? And what are you guys planning to do with the support?
Well, first of all, because they can't really see it on the screen, I want them to know that the website is vets, VETS, and the number 4. And then the words childrescue.org. So vets 4, the number 4, childrescue.org. They can go there. There's a way to donate. We're starting a nonprofit organization to do this independently so that we can get past the gatekeepers who would tell us no and suppress what we're doing. And before we can get all the bureaucratic red tape done of processing the nonprofit org.
You're planning to expose pedophilia rings in a docuseries by Spec Ops vets. And there's a lot more, obviously, behind that. The goal's $250,000. We people listening that are billionaires, they should just give it right now. Hell, I'm going to make a donation, because I know you guys are for real. This is already going behind the scenes. This is how we're going to bring them down with what you're doing and so many others are doing. This is amazing. Vets4childrescue.org. Folks, you want us to do something, you keep calling for us to do something, we're doing it. Craig has big careers, big TV shows on Discovery and History and all these other, all clothing lines, everything else. And he's going into the fray, folks. Front and center, one of the most famous Navy SEALs out there, taking them on. And believe me, they are crapping their drawers right now. A lot of their stuff's happening behind the scenes as well. Okay, so that's what you're seeing with Trump. Listen, we're in a war with these people. That's why they're panicking, because we're on their ass. Stay with us. We'll be back in 70 seconds with 5 more minutes. Vetsforchildrescue.org. Spread that link right now. Let's defeat the enemy. It's an info war. Craig Sawyer's our guest. TacticalInsider.com is his main site. Vetsforchildrescue.org. And he's been trying for years to make films on TV about this. He's just going direct to the public now to fund this. And, of course, that's the overall media operation to then do other investigations and get the intel out from all his sources. And you see the proof. You can say what you want about Trump on a few issues, like this healthcare thing not being the best repeal of Obamacare, but it's better than nothing. Whatever. I'm surprised he can even get anything done. There's total rebellion against him by the system. And I just have stacks every week of literally like 100 articles of like Democrats, Republicans, legislators, judges being caught with children they've kidnapped. I mean, it's just like, look at the stack this week. Why is the MSM ignoring Trump's sex trafficking bust? That's Town Hall. So this stuff's starting to come out, but it's never been this big. And it's not just child porn. It's the actual traffickers, people filming it, doing it. And then the police and folks, and believe they bring in military, obviously, who are contractors and others that are contracted in to go on these raids, because a lot of these places are obviously heavily defended or whatever, heavily armed. And then the people see it, and then they ask, nothing ever happens. Where's the rest of the case? It just gets shut down. But we're almost there. We're almost breaking through that bubble. So vetsforchildrescue.org, go there. Spread the link. Spread the article. Donate. Again, I'm personally going to give $10,000 to this, and that's a lot of money for us. I'm going to give it today because I want to support what you're doing. We got 3 minutes left. I want to invite you back to studio to really break all this down soon, Craig, but very exciting. I want to salute you and all the unsung heroes out there behind you.
Well, thank you, Alex. I don't know if you guys have time to pull it up, but that About Us icon on our page, if you guys can pull that up.
Yes, we have it up.
It shows who all we've got involved in this team. So we have a capability that we can do what we need to do. We just need to fund it because by keeping it independent and private like this, we can circumvent the gatekeepers. If we tried to do it officially, it would be suppressed and nobody would ever see or hear of it. But if we want to rip the lid off of this, well, we've got to maintain control and do it independently. So that's what we're doing. That's the model, and we're going outside the lines. And I think we're gonna shake a lot of people up. But that's exactly what has needed to happen for far too long now. Because
it's not just the British Special Forces or the German police or MI6 or CIA or National Security Agency or Navy SEALs or Army and all these great folks. I mean, again, they already know about it because they're on the inside. They're ready to go. This is one of the greatest forms of resistance against tyranny I've ever seen. And look, our own military said no 4 years ago about the Arab Spring and told Obama no on that and checkmated him. So you guys have already, I got to say it, you guys have already led the way. I'm really impressed.
Well, so many of these guys that have agreed, friends of mine, to be part of this are big names in their own right, and they've got big careers behind them, and it's that experience that's together is going to allow us to make a big dent in.
And they're putting their name, like John Hancock, on the Declaration of Independence against these damn pedophiles.
Yes, sir. This is our way of doing it. Our way of doing it.
I've got Leanne McAdoo coming in. If you can do 5 more minutes, I want to come back and just ask you about the decision to finally do this, because I know you knew other folks were getting involved, starting to get ready. There's just this all over the place. People are moving. They're not waiting for orders from headquarters. They're going to the sound of the guns. So let's come back and talk about how this came together. And like you said, of this About page, I had no idea you guys had like MI6 and Special Air Services and the German Special Forces. And I mean, these folks are pissed, folks. And this is big. We'll be right back with Craig Sawyer, who's helping bring all this together because he's so respected. Stay with us. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say, see, I told you so, that communist Chinese-style net censorship was coming to the web, because it's already here. It's being announced. The way you keep the internet open and free is you get involved more than ever. Go to Infowars.com/app. A new battleship in the fight. Infowars Live, available right now. We're looking for a crew to man it. You gonna sit down and play games and be a trendy? Or are you gonna be part of history? Don't sit by and let the internet and free speech be stolen from you. Take action.